It's fairly canny, though.
If you come to this side, Dad, look down from where I am now. You get a bit better look at it and see the shape of it.
Oh, there we go. Right then, so what we'll do is, you got me here?
Yep.
Right then, what we'll do is, we've got the car spun around, so we're going to work on this side now. I think we've got the whole car into 40 grit, Dan? Yeah.
Yeah, 40 grit, go and do it next.
All in
Yes.
40 grit now,
Yeah.
so it's all in 40 grit. So the next, we're going to do it in 80 grit. I've got that door to do, and I've obviously got this arch to shape up, so I've shaped the other side up. Like I say, get the whole thing in 80 grit, and now we'll put the primer on it. So anyway, let's crack on with that. Get it up a height on the ramps, and make it a bit easier to work on the quick jacks. We'll do that, Dad, do you reckon?
That'll be it, yeah, good.
Right, so that's 80 grit I've put on there. Most of you have probably seen these before, Dura blocks. Absolutely fantastic. I've got a full kit of them, which I'll show you. I'll pop a little B-roll shot in. But yeah, they're just great. They've got a little bit of flex in them, which is good. Oh, the tape, obviously. But yeah, really, no matter how sweaty your hands are, even though I've got sweaty gloves on, but you can always grip them. So anyway, so I'm going to sand this arch down. You've seen the last video, obviously, when we fitted the new arches. So these are all brand new arches fitted all the way around there. That section is all brand new. If you haven't seen the previous videos, take a look. I'll put a link in the corner of the screen so you can see that. But we replaced all these and all of the underneath. A lot of fabrication work went into that. It's quite an interesting couple of episodes. So like I say, I'll put a link in the corner for that of the screen so you can watch that video. But so when I put these on, they were welded around this area here. So you'll always get a little bit of distortion, and obviously where the weld's been grinded back. So I filled the area with a little bit of fiberglass, fine fiberglass, and then a little skim of filler over the top of that. And then we'll just put some epoxy primer. Then that's what this is on top, epoxy primer, just so we could actually take the car for an MOT and actually get the car on the road and use the car a little bit, just to see how the car was going to perform, because we hadn't actually had it on the road at that point. So that's the stage where that's at. So all I want to do is just basically rub a little bit of the filler that I put in here and just get a little bit of the form of the wing back, or the shape of the wing back, which I did on the other side. If you haven't already seen that far wing, that's pretty much there now. Obviously we'll be more sort of refined when we get the primers on, then a filler primer layer will block the whole car then. But so I'm just going to rub this, and you'll see any high spots that stand out, because on the other side there was maybe 2 or 3 high spots just where the wing, the new panel and the old wing had sort of distorted slightly with the welding. So you'll probably see them come up. So I think we've got one, I can kind of feel them. There's one there I think, possibly one here and here, maybe there's one there and there. So you'll see them come. Definitely one in that area. You'll see it come when I start blocking it. So there's one coming up here, obviously. Try and tap that down. So ideally you'd want to put the dolly in the back, but there's no way of getting in. You can't get in the boot, or if you just can't get in. So you'd want the dolly at the back of this, but I can't do it, so I'll try and lock down as best I can. I'm not bothered if it goes too far down, because I can put a little bit of primer in, a little bit of filler in there. I think we are down a bit too far, but that's alright. It's nowhere near as bad as the other side, to be honest with you. See, we've got some low spots here. So obviously all the areas that the sandpaper isn't catching, these are the low spots. Right around here a little bit there. So I'll put a little skim of filler down these once I get it shaped, and I'll just keep blocking it back to get the shape as perfect as I can. And like I say, once we get the filler primer on, which will go on after the epoxy primer, so first we'll put the epoxy on, which will seal everything off, and then some filler primer, then we'll be able to use a finer grit and just block these. Anyway, take shape. We'll crack on with that. Oh, right, there we go. I've just been going around with the little hammer staple gun. Just a tiny would have been wood, the wall sort of just hold it back at that side. Obviously that side's a bit more tricky, so I just put the ladders in and the couple of things just to hold it back. There's plenty of space. You can see very well on the camera there, but I can obviously, you know, step back into it, it's alright. Plenty of space for spray. And also I can get behind there to be bench so that I can do a little bit of mixing. And we'll have a clean my bench off obviously a bit. Anyway, so finally got to the point of, or the stage of putting the primer on. So as I was saying, I was going to mention like the stages we're going to go through in primer, or the build up to the eventual top coat of paint. So we've rubbed it all down. First we did 40 grit, then 80 grit. Gone round with the 80 grit on the diagram, on the orbital sander. Got all nicely into the door checks and everything like that. And obviously, as I was saying, I took the seal out of the window so I can get nicely round into the corner. Took all of the old rubbishy paint off that was obviously done at one point. Yeah, so like I say, 40 grit, then 80 grit, and then I'll go around now and I'll wax and grease it. I think that's the right thing to do at this stage still. I've worked on these arches the best I can at the minute. I want to get some paint on them so that I can get a better idea of the shape of the arches once I get the primer on. It'll show up. I'm happy enough that they're close enough that I can maybe just use a very thin skim of filler where it's needed, possibly. But we'll also use a filler primer. So the next stage after now wax and grease remove it will be put a sealer primer on, so that'll seal everything on in there now so we don't get any contamination with what you see. And then once we've used the sealer primer, there's a 3-day window where I can paint on top of that without having to rub it up, and you don't have to rub up epoxy primer, the sealer primer, because it's awful to rub up. It's like kind of like rubbery stuff, it's awful stuff really. So I want to get that on, and then maybe tomorrow, probably it's Friday today, so maybe tomorrow I'll put a coat of filler primer on. Anyway, there we go. So I'll crack on, get the primer on. You'll see he's putting that on now. Crack on with it.
Okay, so this is the sealer primer, epoxy primer, HB 989. There's a lot of different types you can get, a lot of different brands you can get, obviously, but we use this, it's quite good. So it's a 2-to-1 mix, so 2 part paint, 1 part activator, and we just put like a little skim or 5% of thinners in. And I've showed you on the drone there, we're using on the camera, we're using a 1.7mm nozzle. This is just a cheap old gun just to put the primer on. We've got a better gun, or we'll be getting a better gun for putting the top coat on. You'll see that when we come to put that on. Handy little trick, probably already know this, a lot of you, but if you get your masking tape, just stick your masking tape over the pot. Just create yourself a little pourer.
Okay, so that's it, all wax and grease removed. I went around with 2 cloths, so I actually dusted it off first with the first cloth. I didn't want to use the airline just to kind of prevent creating a bit of too much dust, and I suppose with the cloth I'm collecting any dust. So I went around with the cloth first just to clean it off, dust it off. Then I went around with 2 cloths, wax and grease, so put it on with 1 cloth. Obviously did like 1 panel at a time, and then wipe it off and dry it with the other cloth. I'm just going to leave it for 10 or 15 minutes just to thoroughly dry off. Don't think the wax and grease remover I've got is the quick dry stuff. Can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to leave it for 10 minutes just to dry off, and then I will start putting the primer on.
Can't believe that. The camera wasn't set away. Damn it all. There we go. Well, that's one side painted. That's very annoying. Oh, I'll show you this side. That's quite disappointing, isn't it? Whew, there we go. All done, just finished. That gun's absolutely great, worked really well, so the pots inside collapse as you can see. I've done two pots, filled 2 pots full of it. Done the whole car, all finished. So far it looks really good. Obviously, I know once you start having a look around it, you start finding little runs. I've got one run I've found on the other side, just on there. I've got a run on there, on the on side. I'll show you. I'll let the dust settle, and then I'll give you a walk around it and show you what I've done anyways. But so far, I'm really, really pleased. It looks great. It looks absolutely spot on. The wings look really good, or the arches look really good. But anyway, I'm going to get out the dust, and like I say, I'll let the dust settle, and then I'll give you a walk around it. I've got my mask on because it's still pretty smelly in here, but I'll just give you a little walk around the car. So I'm absolutely over the moon how it's come out. Like, it's come out really good. I hope when I come to paint the car, in some ways it comes out as good as this. I think the one thing to consider with this stuff is it's a very thick primer, so it doesn't like lay down like paint would. So you've got to, I've found this a lot of times with this stuff, when you paint this stuff, it kind of goes on, it looks very dry, very orange peely, but that's just natural, because this stuff goes on, it's very thick, so it goes on and leaves like a thick layer, so it's very sort of, like I say, it doesn't lay down very flat, it kind of is quite orange peely, but it's actually come out quite canny in places, to be honest. I'll show you like around the window here, kind of get the light on it. You see the light. It's come out very good. It actually looks more orange peely on the camera than it does in real life actually. But yeah, so it's come out really canny. These arches, I think I'm very, very pleased with them. You'll be able to see better in person when you're here. But they've come out great. This side's a little bit more dry. Oh, there's me run. A bit of a run there. Again, it looks worse on the camera than what it does in real life, to be honest. Just skim them off with a Stanley blade, you know, when they're dry. You just scrape them off. That's the trick. But it's come out canny. Like, this wing's come out really good on this side, or this arch. They look really good, the arches. Obviously, like I said, you'll be able to tell better when you come and have a look at it, but the only thing I can see is that there's a little bit, I just caught on the camera there, there's them 2 little bits there, you can see them little kind of humps. They're not much, a little bit, you see that one there obviously. But the whole thing looks really canny, like. Obviously there's a bit of time spent on making that groove a bit nicer. But plenty of paint on it anyway. Very nicely underneath to the sills and that right round, right underneath. But they've come out really good. Great. Yeah, can't see any of the runs, no more runs, just that one on that side. There we go. Anyway, yeah, dead pleased with that. Right then, okay, so take that on a second.
So I'm just about to put the first coat of filler primer on. So we've had this quite a while. It used to be all the stuff that used to use UPuild P88. Is it P88? Yeah. Anyway, we've got 2 full drums of it, so we're going to use that. So it's just mixed with thinners. So I'll stick it on the gun. So this is the first coat of filler primer. We'll stick a coat on, leave it 15 minutes, and then stick another coat on. And then after that, we can kind of have a look at once it's dried off. Give it till tomorrow, Saturday today. Yesterday we put the epoxy primer on, so then tomorrow hopefully it'll be dry enough and then we can kind of block sand the whole car and see how the whole thing looks then. But if I haven't already showed you around it, it looks really good with the epoxy primer on. That's kind of shown up now with a sort of solid colour all over the whole car, seeing how good the lines look. It looks pretty good. All the back arches look really good. I'm really happy with them. But yeah, so I'm going to stick this on. We'll crack this on. So I'm using a 2mm tip on the gun on this one. So I changed from 1.7 on the last using the epoxy primer to yeah, you can see anyway, 2mm tip for the filler primer. Whoa. Yeah, so get this on the car. Crack on. Right, what's that? Let's go. Better. Right, let's get some on. Well, it's the next morning, so we'll pop in the garage and have a look and see how it's turned out. That's after 5 coats even, with filler primer. Looked really good yesterday, so shouldn't have changed. And the next stage is just going to be block sanding it all and getting rid of any little edges or anywhere where the sort of lines of the body aren't quite perfect. The filler primer will do that. So I think actually my camera's set on 60 frames a second. I'll just drop it down because you're going to get the flashy lights with the LED lights. Right, there we go. Annoying that. Yeah, so it looks very good. Give you a bit closer. All the door checks all nicely done. I think the biggest concern is just these arches, though, getting these arches right after obviously all the repairs they've had. So you can see I noticed there was two little sort of raised patches there, high patches there, which are hopefully, I think they'll come out with the filler primer that I've put on. Yeah, kind of see them there. Obviously little bits and pieces. There's a little bit more refine to do on that line there, and I need just a little skim of filler there where I've been a bit low. Yeah, just kind of refine it, and like I say, those arches, I'm really happy with those. Like I say, any of the little imperfections you see in there, hopefully they'll come out with the when I block sand it. I'm not a paint shop and body guy. This is something that we're doing it just the best way we can with the little bit of experience we have had doing it. I'm not doing it every day, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's come out quite canny. Got a bit of a run there, which will sound. I've scraped the run out of the because the run was in the epoxy primer. I scraped it out, but it's actually come through. But like I say again, things like that should come out, I'm hoping, with filler primer, because this filler primer is really good. I've used it a few times, so there's a little bit. And also on the top edge on here, you'll see there's a little bit of a raise there where we rubbed it back. You can see in here, like a little bit of a line going through there. See that line coming through here? It's just the paint level. where I've rubbed it back to, but I think, like I say, the filler primer should get rid of that. But really good. Masking tape started coming away obviously now, just with the paint probably shrinking the plastic, but it's okay. So I'll probably pull the sheets up and then we'll spend a bit of time just sanding it. I think we'll do 220 grit on the block, and then we'll see how it looks, see if it needs any more filler primer. If it does, we'll put another coat of filler primer on it just to get it right, and then on top of that, then we'll put another coat of epoxy primer, and then once we've got the epoxy primer on, that's where we're happy with it. We can then wet and dry the car. I think we'll do it, 320 wet and dry, and then 600, and then top coat paint on top of that. Anyway, we'll get to that stage. You'll watch us through it. So I'm not sure whether this is going to be the end of the video, but if it is, we'll carry on to the next one. If not, we'll carry on to this one. Brilliant, crack on anyway.